Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video we've got two stories and both of them have updates, so let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ExcitingIce9119. Am I the a-hole for cutting my mother-in-law off because she told my daughter she hoped I had died when I was taken to the hospital? I, 30 female, was in a car crash. I had to be cut out of the car. I wasn't seriously injured though, thankfully, but the other person unfortunately wasn't doing too well from what I saw before I was taken away to the hospital. I was told to stay in the hospital overnight to see if I suffered from a concussion. I rang my husband and told him what happened. My mother-in-law got the incidents mixed up when he dropped off our daughters, 6 and 12, at my mother-in-law's place while he rushed to see me. The next morning, my husband brought my daughters to pick me up while I was waiting to be discharged. Upon seeing me, my 6-year-old busted into tears and said, "I don't want you to die." I comforted her and said I'm not dying and told her I was very lucky. She then said Granny said she hoped I died so that my daughters and my husband could come live with her. My husband and I were shocked, and my 12-year-old confirmed she heard her say that too. My husband said he was going to ring mother-in-law. When he came back into the room, he looked furious, but didn't say anything until after we got home, and he said that mother-in-law denied saying anything at first. But after he kept pushing, she ended up admitting it, but she said she didn't mean it. I thought me and her were close, but I guess not. I am incredibly hurt she would want that, and told him I wanted me and the girls to have no contact with mother-in-law. I told him he could have a relationship with her, but I didn't want me and the girls to have one with her. My husband said he supports me. He then rang mother-in-law and told her what I said. She didn't take it too well. She came to our house crying and saying it was a misunderstanding, that she didn't mean it and that we were taking it the wrong way. My husband asked, "What did you mean then?" And she got hysterical and started crying and saying she always wanted daughters, but my husband was an only child due to her not being able to have any more children after him, and that the girls are more like her daughters than granddaughters, and she wasn't thinking properly when she said that to our 6-year-old. She got so worked up that my husband had to take her home. When he got back, he said he didn't know she felt like that and asked if I still wanted to cut her off. I said yes. He said okay and didn't argue. But it's been a week now and he is still very quiet and hasn't said much about what happened. And now I'm starting to feel guilty and wondering if I did take it the wrong way and maybe am I the a-hole? OP, no, I don't think you're the a-hole. There are so many different things that what your mother-in-law did are wrong. Starting with traumatizing your kids by telling them that she wanted their mother to die so that they could come live with her. And that the underlying reason for that is that since she could never have girls, she feels your daughters are more her daughters than her granddaughters. And that sounds unsettling to say it nicely. Now, personally, I don't think your husband is upset with you because you cut his mother off. I think he's most upset with the fact that he needs to come to terms with his mom being this kind of crazy and that he has to try to keep his daughters away from her. That can't be an easy thing, particularly after hearing your mom say that she basically wasn't happy having you and she wanted girls. All that to say, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole. I don't think your husband is upset with you, but maybe you want to talk to him to see what he has to say. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? How would you try to handle this? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Lakila says, she traumatized your child. It was horrifying for your daughter to hear that. Bad enough her mom was in the hospital after a car accident. As a young child, she likely had a whole lot of frightening scenarios going through her mind, unable to properly process that. Your daughter needed assurance and positivity, not what that disgusting harridan said. Mother-in-law did mean it. You don't blurt something like that out of misunderstanding or as a joke. That whole hysterical outburst she put in front of you, that was BS, manipulative BS, because she got caught, and it seems to have worked on your husband because she's trained or brainwashed him that way. Stand your ground. She needs at the very least a good long time out. Do not let your husband or anyone sweep this under the rug, because doing that would make everyone think it's perfectly okay for mother-in-law to hope you died. For your daughters to lose their mom, that's sickening. I'd make that time out at least 6 months. Heck, make it for the rest of this year. So she loses out on the big holidays at the very least. What a vile effing cow, not the a-hole. A Rose says, not the a-hole. She's only sorry because she got caught. Do not allow her near you or to alienate your children. She's already shown you she cannot be trusted. She's so hateful she traumatized your children and wished for you to die. How on earth can your husband even question that? No contact. My children are not emotional support animals or your mother's do-over babies. If you feel sympathy for her, by all means, go move back in with your mother and be her husband. Sir Edie Calotte says, not the a-hole on so many levels. First, the instant someone puts their desires ahead of your survival, that's reason enough to cut them out of your life like cancer. Second, she traumatized your daughter by saying that to her. No matter what you feel, you do not say crap like that to a child, especially one who's worried about her mommy. Third, girls are more like daughters than granddaughters. Sorry, but no, that's overstepping a boundary. If she mentally frames the girls as her daughters, that is a sign of boundary disrespect, if not mental illness. Her life regrets are not your problem to solve, and certainly not your problem to tolerate at the expense of harming your own daughter's mental health. Personally, I think you handled that nicer than I would have. I'd probably have said something like, parenting means putting the needs of your children ahead of your own desires. The fact that you'd let your desires win and say something so horribly awful, if not emotionally abusive, to a little girl who's afraid for her mommy shows that you are unfit to have daughters, or probably any kid right now, and you are probably mentally unwell. So before you tell me I'm awful for keeping you away from my girls, look in a damn mirror and think about what kind of person you are, and if being in a child's life actually helps that child or just helps you scratch an itch. Think I'm wrong? Find me one situation ever in real life or movies where the person who tells a kid, I hope your mom dies, isn't the villain. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and they have very strong feelings about this whole thing and about the husband, which apparently I read wrong, but I'm not so sure about that. I got the impression that the husband was absolutely on board with OP from the start, and he just wanted to do a double take on it. I did not get the feeling that he was trying to brush this under the rug or anything like that just because it was his mommy, like some commenters said. And to the last commenter's question or challenge, let's say, I would say the exception to the rule in that case would be Cersei Lannister, but that's neither here nor there. Now, OP did not answer any questions or comments, but she did give us 2 updates back to back, and I'm gonna read them together. However, I did take one editorial liberty and I changed the names for the sake of anonymity because OP gave the real names. So let's finish the story with that. Well, you guys were right. I decided to talk to my husband and asked if he was upset that I decided that me and the girls would go no contact with mother-in-law. He said he wasn't. He said he always knew mother-in-law wanted a daughter instead of him. And it brought back all the bad memories of rejection and hurt he felt growing up as a kid with her. I suggested therapy and he's willing to go. We are also going to get therapy for our 6-year-old as she now gets anxious if I'm not within her sight. My husband agreed that going no contact with mother-in-law is the best thing for our family. Our daughter's birthday is coming up and we have yet to tell mother-in-law she is no longer invited. I'm not looking forward to that, but that's the update. Thanks everyone for the lovely comments and support. I appreciate it. Final update. I didn't think I would be posting here again and thought my last update would be my last, but here we are. Mother-in-law has been arrested. My husband's cousin found my post and knew it was me, and she reported it straight to mother-in-law. Yeah, we know it was you who told her, nosy shrew. Crazy Pants' mother-in-law told us all about it when she came over screaming that we can't keep her daughters from her. She didn't even hesitate to drop your name and throw you under the bus. So much for loyalty, huh? You are not welcome at our home anymore, and you are officially removed from my daughter's birthday list and our lives. How about you show the whole family this post so they can see how two-faced you are? And to the Reddit community, sorry about that. So, as I said, mother-in-law has been arrested. She came to our house screaming that we couldn't keep her daughters away from her. My husband tried to calm her down and get her to leave. She wouldn't and attacked him. My husband had to restrain her, and I called the police. She fought them, but it got her nowhere except the back of their car. The woman is truly insane. My husband talked to the police because I had to calm down my daughters. After all, they witnessed the whole thing. My 6-year-old was hysterical about Granny being taken away. This is all just a big mess. Well, OP, I can't say it's a happy update, of course, because of the whole mess, particularly for your daughters and that poor 6-year-old that is very traumatized by now. Hopefully therapy will help her out. But I do think it is a positive thing that you've gotten that woman out of your lives, along with the nosy cousin who did not help at all. So the only thing that's left for me to say is wish you all the best of luck in the future. Hopefully you guys can get through this thing together as a family and all will be well with your children. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user I love home cooked meals. Am I the a-hole for not agreeing with my other roommates about roommate's girlfriend paying rent? I, 27 female, live in a large apartment with a few different roommates. There's Harry and Mia, 24 male and 25 female, myself, and Derek, 28 male. Harry and Mia are dating and share a room, and Derek and I agreed to split rent 3 ways and let those two split it in between themselves. I think this is relevant later. Derek got a new girlfriend last summer, Molly, 27 female. Now that they've been together for a bit, they've started staying at each other's places. Molly stays over at our apartment maybe 2 to 3 times a week, 4 nights max. Harry and Mia recently approached me saying they think Molly should start contributing to the rent or at least to utilities or groceries now that she's over so much. I don't agree, and here's why. 1. Molly helps clean pretty much every time she's over. If she and Derek make dinner, she helps with all of the dishes and cleanup. She's taken out the trash on her way out a few times and always offers to help if she sees any one of us tidying up. 2. Molly has never eaten our food. She often comes over and cooks dinner for all of us, which she definitely does not have to do, and she always stops at the store for all the ingredients beforehand. I think the most she's ever taken from our fridge was a bottle of water. And 3, as for utilities, I just don't think she's over enough to make a huge impact. She doesn't usually shower here, only doing so a handful of times in the months she's been coming over. She and Derek pretty much just make dinners on their dime, watch movies and sleep. Anyway, Harry and Mia are really pushing for us to all confront Derek about this, and I refused. I don't think she's making enough of an impact that we need to demand money from her. I feel like by doing that, she'll stop making us dinners, lol. It might sound selfish, but several times she has made my entire night having a home-cooked meal ready for me after work. I also don't think it's fair for the 2 people paying the least amount in rent to be demanding this. We're sort of at a standstill because Harry and Mia don't want to do this confrontation on their own, and I'm refusing to agree to it. They're pissed at me, and I just want them to let it go. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, no, I don't think you're the a-hole, and based on your explanation, Molly doesn't seem to be an impact. And if the rent is being split and paid in 3 ways because there are 3 rooms and Derek is covering his share, then why does Molly need to pay? As you stated, she isn't eating anybody's food and she's actually contributing to the household, which is absolutely nice of her to do, to help clean up, to take out the trash, and to give you guys meals. That's awesome. Harry and me are just being greedy in my opinion, so no, OP, you are absolutely not the a-hole. Now, if they keep insisting that yeah, she should pay rent, well then the split is no longer per room, and the split is per person, which would actually benefit you, OP, but it wouldn't benefit them at all. And my guess is that once you propose that, then they're going to slide back into their room and be quiet about this. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Bulbasaur Ranch says, if you want to review the rent split based on another person, then it would be reviewed as 5 people. Think carefully if this is what you want, because you are 2 people being considered 1. Let me know if you want to approach the review, and I will need answers from both of you, seeing as you are 2 people, so each have a say. Not the a-hole. It's rich coming from the couple being treated as 1. Sebscreen says, not the a-hole. Your preference is your preference. No one should expect you to fight their battle for them. I am understanding correctly that Harry and Mia pay 1/3 of the expenses, the same amount you and Derek each pay as individuals? If so, why don't they think Derek and his girlfriend should get the same deal as them, where the second person lives there completely free? And OP responds, I will ask them actually. I didn't even think to for some reason. It felt like they just wanted her to be a part of bills, so it would be lower what they pay, which I don't think is fair at all. And Quick Possession 245 says, I agree with others saying Harry and Mia are being ridiculous since they are already paying less than everyone else. And you could ask them if they don't think that Derek should be paying less since he is over at Mia's place a couple of days a week, so using less in utilities. I don't think that makes sense, but it goes to their argument about Molly, not the a-hole. Additional information from OP's comments. Derek and I each pay $600, and Harry and Mia each pay only $300. We didn't mind it at all, since Derek and I make good money, and Harry and Mia are both in school. But we do split utilities and internet evenly. Rent is split 3 ways instead of 4. I think they are assuming Molly would pay her own piece of the rent and lowering theirs. That would make no sense given our current arrangement, lol. Molly is a gem, definitely the best case scenario when it comes to a roommate's girlfriend coming around in my opinion, and she's a dang good cook. Also, utility usage has not gone up noticeably, that's for sure. Derek loves to cook, so he'd be using the oven or stove most nights, even without Molly here, and she usually showers before she comes over or when she goes home. I think the only one would be the internet since she connects to our Wi-Fi when she's over, but it's not like that adds anything to the amount we pay. I'm going to bring it up to Derek privately, I think, but if they do bring it up to him, I'll be on his side. I just don't want to give up the dinners Molly makes for us. Laughing smiley face. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and they gave a pretty similar analysis, all of them, and me as well. So now it's time to move on to the update to see how this story ends. So it's been a few days and a lot has happened. The day I made that post, I came home from work to Derek and Molly's, and Harry and Mia were watching a movie in the living room. I decided to just bring up the situation to them since Derek and Molly weren't around. I asked for reasoning on why she should be paying for our apartment. Harry was quiet while Mia went on a rant. She accused Molly of babying Harry by trying to clean up after him. She also thinks Molly's use of the kitchen and our shared appliances was inappropriate. She then said Molly was using our Wi-Fi like a freeloader. I let her rant before I asked what exactly they thought Molly should be paying. Mia said she should either split the rent with all of us or take on the internet bill. I asked if she meant we should split the rent 5 ways going forward, since that would raise her and Harry's share of it. She said no, since when we moved in, she never agreed to someone else being over as often as Molly is. I disagreed and laid out my reasoning similarly to how I did in my previous post. I also said that if she was really insistent on Molly paying a share of rent, then we either start splitting 5 ways or she splits Derek's piece with him the way she does with Harry's. Me and her got into an argument about it, and eventually she turned to Harry and said, "You really have nothing to say?" He shrugged and said, "I don't think we should push this." Mia got red in the face and told them to go to their room, and they fought in there for a while. I decided to go out for food as I didn't really feel like being home listening to them yelling through the walls, lol. I got back an hour later and Mia was gone, and Harry was back in the living room watching TV. I asked what happened, and he shrugged and said Mia went to stay at her mom's. The next night, Derek was back, no Molly. I pulled him aside while Harry was in his room and told him what happened, suggesting we all sit down and hash this out before Mia came back. Harry came out and right away he told us we didn't need to worry. Mia probably wasn't coming back to live here. He broke down and told us Mia had been jealous of Molly, thinking she was doing all of these nice things for us to try and get with him. Basically, it's been an argument they've been having since Molly started coming around. He tried telling Mia over and over that Molly is nice to all of us, even her, and he doesn't know why she thinks there's some elaborate plan to get with him. Mia just never relented, and when he didn't stick up to me in our argument, she decided he didn't value her. She packed up a bag and left and texted him today saying she'd get the rest this week. We comforted him, had a few drinks, and honestly ended up having a nice night with the three of us. So yeah, Mia is gone and not coming back. Harry seems to have made peace with that. Derek and Molly are making us homemade pizza tonight, and I'm really excited about coming home to it. Lol. Well, OP, I gotta say, Harry's life just got a lot more uncomplicated without Mia being around. So, in a way, you could say that Molly just kept taking out the trash. Or maybe that's too harsh. Let me know. Anyways, thanks OP for sharing and all the best to all of you. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.